Alright guys, so I am out here in the pasture on this beautiful spring day and just here to share some of my thoughts with y'all. So something that I've found in the past 14 plus years that I've been out here and working with horses and just being in the horse world is that there are so many different techniques out there and so many different things that it can be really confusing, and everyone thinks that their way, their technique is, the best, the greatest, whatever, and they try to push it on you. And just keep in mind that there's no one size fits all for really anything in life, not just horses, with teaching, whatever you're learning something. Everybody's different, uniquely created by God, and so there's not one thing that's going to work for everybody. So when you're around horses and everyone's trying to tell you their way's the best, you have to remember to know your horse first and find what matches your horse, what fits with your horse. For example, there are different kinds of equipment that people use that don't work out for us, that don't fit our needs. And one of those things is called a back cinch. So it's a separate cinch that goes on the back of the saddle. So you have two cinches instead of one. We have absolutely no need for back cinches here. A lot of people use them, but we don't, because we're not doing a lot of, fast barrel racing or galloping or roping or anything like that that would warrant the use of a back cinch. Now, another reason why we don't use them is because we work with a lot of kids, and having another piece of equipment that we have to check is another piece of equipment that can get messed up, can get tangled, can get put on wrong, and we don't, the benefits do not, outweigh the risk of something being put on wrong. And there are some people who swear by back cinches. They never ride without back cinches. I've met several people who will not ride their horse without a back cinch. Now, that's not what works for us. So just because we do things differently doesn't mean they're wrong. And just because they insist on a back cinch does not mean they're wrong. They're just different. They have different needs, and they have different horses. Now, you have to remember that every single horse is different and every single person is different. So you have to tailor your training or your riding to your specific horse and what you need as a rider. And now this relates to all areas of life, not just horses. If you're a teacher, a parent, you are a husband, a wife, whatever, you have to love and care for your other person or another person based on what they need, not based on what you need. Because everyone is different, everyone is uniquely created by God, and everyone is created for a different purpose. And you have to understand, or do your best to understand, what that purpose is. Now, Honeybee here is a American quarter pony, and I would never try to make her a racehorse. Okay, she's not a racehorse, not built to be a racehorse. So if I am trying to treat her and train her like a racehorse, I am setting my horse and myself up for absolute failure. Okay, and if your goal is failure, then sure, try to make things what they're not. But if you want to succeed, and anywhere in life, you have to treat other people and animals differently based on their personality and what they were created for. Now, Honeybee might not be a, show jumper or a barrel racer or a racehorse, but she is a great hunter jumper, okay? My sister has shown her in hunter jumping, and she does great at it. Doesn't mean she's a bad horse for not being a barrel horse or a race horse, or she's not even a good kid horse. But just because she's not that doesn't mean she's a bad horse. She's just not built for that. Doesn't fit her. And you have to adjust your training based on your horse. And I have spent lots of hours watching videos and reading books about horsemanship, and there's a lot of things out there. But the most important thing is you building a relationship, building a foundation with your horse. I love relationship-based horse training, relationship-based, riding. I want to know my horse, and I want my horse to know me. I want to know how to communicate with my horse, as opposed to having a push button horse. I train my horses to have an opinion, okay, and tell me their opinion. If I wanted a horse that's just a push button horse, I wouldn't have any fun. Okay, that's not me. I don't like push button. They're not robots. They are beautiful creatures that God has made, and they are just a small touch of His beauty, and we need to respect that and realize that they're all different. Okay, so I can't impose or force XYZ on my horse and expect it to work with every single horse that I've ever touched. And if it doesn't work, they're a bad horse. There are a lot of people, a lot of trainers even, that do that, like professional trainers who have XYZ, and if XY works but Z doesn't, the horse is the one with the problem. But we need to adjust our expectations, adjust our training, adjust our techniques specifically for the horse we are working with, and specifically for the horse in that moment. That also works, with kids. That also works with basically anyone you are teaching, have a relationship with. You got to adjust yourself based on what you're given. And so there's no one size fits all. There's no, there's no box, okay? You never say never, and don't say always. Because if you say never, there's going to be a horse that's going to go nevering all the way. If you say always, that puts a boundary there and prevents you from learning. Also, do not say can't, because if you say can't, that puts a boundary on your learning, okay? So if you say, I haven't yet, then that keeps the door open and enables you to continue to learn and grow. So things not to say is always, never, and can't. Because those three words put great boundaries on there. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had kids tell me they can't when I know they can. And then, a few years later, they can do it. And another thing that you have to do is believe in other people, and allow them to open up their God-given potential. Ephesians 2:10 tells us that we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do the good works that He has prepared for us in advance to do. Meaning that we are so special and valued by God that He has prepared specific tasks for each and every one of us. And all of our tasks are going to be different from somebody else's. So we can't compare, we can't put ourselves in boxes, we can't put other people in boxes. Help other people unlock not their expectations, unlock their potential, and unlock the things that God has given them, and encourage other people based on their individual self, not what your expectations are for that person, not what your expectations are for that horse. Unlock what God has given them. And sometimes it can be gentle, sometimes it's harsh, just whatever they need in that moment. Have a relationship with your horse. Whatever you do, do it for your relationship. Just remember, you are unique and you were created by God for a specific purpose, and just keep that in mind on your day-to-day. And don't try to impose things on your horse, because sometimes it's just not going to work out. So you got to adjust yourself for your horse. Value your horse. Learn what they need, their needs, their wants, their desires, what's important to your horse, what's important to your family, your friends, your kids, your wife, your husband, whatever. Find out what's important to them, what they need, the gifts and talents that God has given them, and then help them unlock that and expand that. So I hope you were encouraged by that, and I hope you learned something, and if not, these are our horses and they're pretty. So I appreciate you guys, and if you have any questions or comments, let me know and I will be happy to answer them. Have a good week.